My name is Izzy Polo, and I did my video on Harriet Quimby. Harriet Quimby was one of the earliest female aviation pioneers. She was born in Coldwater, Michigan in 1875. Her early life is surrounded in mystery, an intentional choice by Quimby. Quimby would often lie about her background. For example, she frequently claimed to have been born in Arroyo Grande, California, in 1874 to a wealthy family. However, in reality, she grew up as the daughter of a poor farmer. Encouraged by her mother, Quimby pursued a life unexpected for a woman of her time, leading to a fascinating career and legacy. This is a brief timeline of Quimby's life. We'll go into more detail throughout the rest of the presentation. In 1902, Quimby began writing as a journalist for several publications, including the San Francisco Dramatic Review, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Call. In 1903, she moved to New York, where she joined the staff of Leslie's Illustrated Weekly, first as a drama critic and editor, and later becoming a feature author of the articles for the magazine. She would work there for almost a decade, even after she discovered her passion for aviation. In 1910, Harriet Quimby attended an international airshow event at Belmont Park, New York. Here, her love of aviation began. Quimby was introduced to John Moisant at the meet after he won the air race, and she immediately wanted to attend his flight school. Although John Moisant would die shortly after at an air show in New Orleans, Quimby eventually got her wish, and in 1911 she began taking lessons at the Moisant Aviation School on Long Island with John's brother, Alfred. At the Moisant Aviation School, Quimby quickly met and befriended fellow student and Moisant's sister, Matilde. Matilde was an influential aviator in her own right, performing in air shows and maintaining her brother's love of flight. After 4 months of training, Quimby applied for and gained her pilot's license on August 2, 1911. She was the second woman in the world to have done so, and the first American female pilot. Her license was issued by the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale in France, with Mathilde Moisant quickly following her, becoming the second American woman ever to receive a pilot's license. Now official, Quimby joined the Moisant International Aviators, where she began performing professionally at air shows across the country. As part of the Moisant International Aviators, Quimby made headlines through her talented flying. She would frequently participate in aviation meets and races. Many Americans were amazed to see a female pilot, which Quimby embraced with her bright purple flight suit. In 1911, Quimby and Matilde flew to Mexico City to fly at the inauguration of President Francisco Madero, where they were the first woman to be seen in the air there. As Quimby traveled, she continued to write for Leslie's Illustrated Weekly. In these articles, she discussed her journeys, the dangers she faced, and how other women should follow her example and join the sport of flying. Harriet Quimby's most well-known achievement is her crossing of the English Channel on April 16, 1912. Before taking off, English pilot Gustave Hamel offered to take her place, as he was worried she would die on the trip, but Quimby refused and began the long journey across the channel. In her report of the flight on Leslie's Illustrated Weekly, Quimby recounts encountering a dense fog after takeoff, forcing her to rely on her compass to make the flight. She also writes about the engine misfiring and flooding with gasoline, causing her to prepare for an emergency water landing. Fortunately, the engine was able to burn off that excess gasoline and return to normal flight before this occurred. Soon after, she spots the shoreline and lands on the French coast some 25 miles south of her intended touchdown point. Despite the dangers, Harriet Quimby has become the first woman to cross the English Channel solo. Harriet Quimby continued to fly for 3 months after her crossing of the English Channel. It was on July 1st, 1912, that she made her last flight. Losing control of her Blériot monoplane during a performance at the Harvard-Boston aviation meet, both Quimby and her passenger, William Willard, fell out of the airplane to their deaths in front of spectators. Harriet Quimby made history as America's first female pilot, and she continued to do so with her solo crossing of the English Channel and many performances with the Moisant International Aviators, bringing awareness to aviation through her journalism. Quimby was a transgressive woman of her time and is rightfully recognized for being one of the great aviation pioneers during the era of early flight. Here are my sources. And the end. Shout out to Brandon for his support on my channel. And credits to SlidesGo for the assets.